What if a Quetzalcoatlus were dropped into the modern African savanna? Could it rule the skies here? Right at this moment, you hatch out of your shell again. Freshly hatched, your wingspan already reaches 1.5 meters, 5 feet. Weighing 2 kilograms, 4.4 pounds, you're already larger than an adult swan. Shaking out your wet wing membranes, driven by instinct encoded deep in your blood, you spread your wings, ready to soar right alongside the sun. But you've barely flapped twice, before crashing headfirst onto the grass. You can't figure it out. There's clearly nothing wrong with your wings, and you used the right amount of force. So why couldn't you take off? It makes sense that you can't figure it out. Back in your Cretaceous homeland, the air was much denser than it is today, and oxygen levels were high enough to easily hold you up. But in today's sky, the air is far too thin to keep your frame aloft. You're like a helicopter trying to take off from a plateau 4,000 meters high. Stuck on the ground, you struggle for a full hour before catching a sudden strong gust of wind and wobbling into the air. That is the first flight of your life, and the first time in 66 million years that a Quetzalcoatlus soars across the skies of modern Earth. The moment you airborne, the world in your eyes instantly becomes crystal clear. 3 kilometers away, a grasshopper twitches on a blade of grass, and you can see it with total precision. These eyes are standard issue for an apex predator. You quickly lock onto a rabbit munching on grass, tuck your wings, and dive straight down from 50 meters up. The wind roars in your ears, and in an instant, you accelerate to 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles per hour. The rabbit didn't even realize what happened before it died. You eat this meal with great satisfaction, but the problem is, your appetite is massive. Hardly after swallowing the last bite, a surge of hunger hits you again. This body of yours was built for the Cretaceous period and era, plentiful with meat. Back then, small dinosaurs roamed the plains in herds, serving as your daily all-you-can-eat buffet, abundant and filling. But today, you have to hunt 5 times a day just to barely supply enough fuel for your growing body. You don't even realize that this is only the beginning of hard times. What's more, on this savanna, there lurks an enemy that was never recorded in your genes. On your 7th day of life, as you bask in the sun on an acacia tree, a sharp shriek suddenly echoes above your head. Instinctively, you try to fly, but it's too late. A raptor swoops down from behind. This creature is modern Africa's largest aerial hunter, boasting a wingspan of 2.3 meters, 7.5 feet, with talons capable of crushing an antelope's skull. Its sharp claws dig deep into your wing membrane. Thrashing frantically, you drag it along and crash headlong into a tree trunk. The impact forces it to release its grip, and seizing the chance, you twist your head around and jab your sharp beak viciously into its wing. It lets out a painful screech and flees, dragging its injuries. You won, though covered in blood, and you're utterly bewildered. Your instincts never warned you about danger coming from the sky. That predatory bird taught you a lesson you'll remember. In this sky, you are not the only hunter. In the days that follow, you experience a rapid growth spurt. In 2 years, your wingspan reaches 5 meters, 16 feet. Quetzalcoatlus is one of the fastest growing flying animals in Earth's history. How fast? Put it this way. It takes a golden eagle 5 years to reach a 2-meter wingspan, whereas in 5 years, you can grow from the size of a swan directly into the size of a helicopter. However, this staggering growth rate becomes a deadly curse, keeping you constantly on the run every day just to fill your stomach. Rabbits were barely enough at first, and later they became a mere snack between your teeth. You have no choice but to target larger prey. You lock your eyes on a herd of impalas grazing with their heads down and swoop down from high above. Yet the moment your shadow sweeps across the grass, the entire herd scatters like a disturbed nest of hornets, running wildly in all directions. You strike empty air. Unwilling to give up, you pull back up to give chase, only to realize that the prey in this world is far tougher to handle than back in your Cretaceous home. Their herds keep dedicated sentinels posted on guard. The moment you show your head, an alarm spreads across the entire herd. Your sprint speed is fast, sure, but your endurance is pitifully poor. After the prey runs just a few hundred meters, you can no longer keep up the chase. For the first time, toward this unfamiliar savanna, you feel a trace of resignation. You often go 3 days in a row with nothing to show for it, starving until your vision turns dark. And it's precisely during one of these times, when pushed to the absolute limit of hunger, that you make an attempt that changes your entire life. A lone impala is dozing in the shade of a tree. Instead of doing what you usually do, swooping in low, you remember that bird of prey, how it struck from up high, from a blind spot. You climb all the way to an altitude of 200 meters in one breath. At that height, you barely need to flap your wings. The savanna's midday surface heats up to 70 degrees Celsius, 158 degrees Fahrenheit, surging scorching air upward in bursts, like an invisible hand, steadily supporting your wings. Riding this thermal current, you can circle motionlessly above your prey for several hours, without it detecting you at all. You fix your gaze squarely on that antelope, and from 200 meters up, slam straight down like a rock. Success! This is the first time since coming into this world that you rely on your own brain, rather than pure instinct, to take down large prey. What you don't know, however, is that what you just did actually went against the nature of your entire lineage. A dive kill like this is something your ancestors never knew how to do. It was this modern savanna, starving you as it did, that forced you into becoming a killer descending from the sky. And this was only the beginning. Having mastered the dive, it's as if a breakthrough unlocked your potential. You begin to realize something. Those creatures posturing on the ground, the lions, hyenas, and long-legged beasts, no matter how much they fight, it's all down on the ground. Whereas your battlefield is up in the sky beyond their reach. From the moment you figure this out, you truly grow into a hunter. At age 5, with a 10-meter, 33-foot wingspan, and weighing 200 kilograms, 440 pounds, you decide to take a shot at a 150-kilogram, 330 lb, adult wildebeest. On this savanna, even a pride of lions, trying to take down a healthy adult wildebeest, has to chase and surround it for minutes on end, risking getting gored by those horns, or having their skulls crushed by hind hooves, often coming away empty-handed. Yet when you look at it, it's like looking at a meal served up and ready. You ascend all the way to an altitude of 1,000 meters, plunging straight down, like a falling missile. The air screams in your ears as your speed reaches 130 kilometers per hour, 80 miles per hour. Just as the wildebeest hears the rushing wind and looks up, that spear-like pointed beak has already pierced straight through its body. From tucking your wings to the wildebeest collapsing, the whole process takes 17 seconds. Prey that a pride has to risk life and limb fighting for minutes to take down, you finish with a single strike from the sky. In that moment, the entire savanna understands something for the first time. Your killing doesn't follow their rules at all. From that day on, the entire savanna begins making way for you. Raptors retreat into higher mountains, no longer daring to circle over the plains. Antelope herds change their drinking times, only daring to approach the water sources during the darkest hours of dawn and dusk. Because the daytime sky belongs to you. Even lions, catching a glimpse of your passing shadow, subconsciously raise their heads on guard. The king of the land pays respect to the king of the sky. You did nothing extra. You were simply living, but merely staying alive. Rewrote the rules of the entire savanna. At age 7, you reach full adult size, boasting an 11-meter, 36-foot wingspan, weighing 230 kilograms, 500 pounds. This is the adult size of a Quetzalcoatlus, reconstructed by scientists from fossils. Standing on the ground, you are as tall as a giraffe. Unfurled, your wings can cover half a basketball court. At this point, there is no longer a single living creature on this land that can threaten you. You have become the true king of the sky. Yet only after becoming king do you realize that a king's life is hollow. There is no one left who dares to challenge you, which means no one left worthy of making you give your all. You fly higher and higher, soaring up to heights where the air is so thin even you can barely breathe. You are searching, looking for an opponent that can make you feel a spark of tension, searching for prey worth diving down for. However, as vast as the sky is, that emptiness is just as vast. When you look down, the entire earth rises and falls beneath your feet. When you look up, nothing remains above but an endless vacant expanse of blue. At noon that day, a small helicopter was flying low, along a flight path over the savanna. In your eyes, that was no human machine, just a strange, noisy creature that had wandered into your empty sky. It had been far too long, so long that you almost forgot what it felt like to be challenged and to respond. Without a moment's hesitation, you pull up sharply to an altitude of 2,000 meters, tuck your wings, and at your limit speed of 130 kilometers per hour, 80 miles per hour, plunge straight downward. The moment your bones and pointed beak slam into the rotor blades, they are shattered into dust. Yet in that very same instant, the rotor blades lose control completely, spinning wildly as the aircraft falls. Your broken body is thrown back by the explosive shockwave, and alongside the burning wreckage traces a tragic arc through the air, crashing into the vast savanna. Until the very end, you believed you were going to conquer that final intruder. In truth, this was the final joke that this world played on a king who had long had no equal. That one-of-a-kind pair of wings allowed you to fly higher and farther than any other living creature. Yet it also allowed you to see more clearly than any other creature just how empty that sky truly was. What made you a king, and what made you crash into that helicopter, were actually the exact same thing. And beneath the very same sky where you fell, thousands of kilometers away, in the skies above a city named Los Angeles, another pair of wings identical to yours was measuring the exact same empty sky over and over again. The day it arrived, it caught a faint glimpse of you, yet you never knew of its existence. Two pairs of wings meant to meet flew for a lifetime, yet neither ever reached the sky where they would cross paths.